over. But yeah, see, things are happening there.
Well, what's happening is it says we're waiting for us. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, we're on. We're just going to be playing right now for just 1 second with Windows because we're not 100% sure what we're going to be seeing. And there's at least one person there, so.
Madeline's here.
Madeline.
So.
All right, Madeline. So I just want to look at something to see what we... And I'm going to go ahead and leave camera on for right now. Because, yeah, I'm pretty sure when we... Yeah, see, it fills up the whole red X.
So you could have made it bigger because of those black bars?
Could have made it bigger.
It's just like I can't see what...
The question is, like, how
much bigger without losing any real estate.
Yeah.
Just a tiny bit.
We're gonna try and see if this can cover the whole thing. And then it needs to be kind of centered.
Centered, yeah. Does it tell you when it's centered?
No, it doesn't.
Wow, that really stinks. Okay.
Let's see what that looks like.
Fingers crossed.
I mean, it looks pretty good.
If I'm seeing correctly, there's a little bit on bottom that's black, or is that just the way it's centered?
No. I don't know.
Okay.
I honestly, and oh wait, yeah, because look at the jaw. Look at the jaw.
The jaw is cut off.
Okay, the jaw is cut off. Hold on. Can I just go?
Good. Ding ding.
We're gonna.
Okay. Here we go. See what we're left with. Okay, so the jaw is up top.
Yeah, like
it still looks like we may have a little bit of black bar at the bottom. So it looks like we could go down a couple more.
But all right, you know what?
I don't think the very top left is going to cut off very much. So I think we're going to be okay.
All right. Then we're going to go ahead and start. So I'm going to do an introduction because I don't know how much I'm going to be talking in this presentation. So
I'll make you talk.
I want to say at least something.
Hello.
So I am David Peterson. This is
I'm Jessie Peterson.
And this is LangTime, and we're from LangTime Studio. And today we're going to be talking about a project that we're working on that is it's being released. It's not all released yet.
It is. But working is like we're finished working. We've been finished for 4 years.
Oh, right.
So
Has it been that long?
It's 2021 was when we finished work on this.
Wow, it's been 4 years.
Yeah.
That's wild. Matisse is asking if this is choppy for anyone else or just him.
Oh, no. Because this is a lot asking. Not choppy for Madeline. Okay, well.
Okay. Oh, Matisse, it's probably your new internet.
So sorry, Matisse.
Yeah. Good. All right. So, anyway, we were going to tell you a little bit about it, and the reason that we were was because this is going to be informative for about how you might use naming languages in a project. Anyway, and a big thank you once again to Madeline James for having us here and for having this truly tremendous world building festival over the course of this weekend.
Yes, excellent work, Madeline. It's been really a lot of fun, and it's been really cool to see the just incredibly diverse presentations, live streams, challenges, all the different things going on. It's been really cool. So excellent job. Okay, Matei says a refresh seems to have solved it, so good. I think we're good here.
I'm gonna pull up chat over here.
All right, so David's getting chat going on his phone. David, did you want to keep talking during the introduction? We've got some opening slides where you can read I can read the slides and you can add comment.
Well, let's find out.
Let's see what happens. All right, so we're going to be talking about work that we did for Robert Ratcliffe, who created Chronicles of the Residuum, which is a project that connects music, storytelling, and art in a dystopian sci-fi universe.
All right. Is there going to be slides that talk about the music, or should I talk about that right now?
Go for it, because I don't
Okay.
really focus on the music.
To give everybody a background, one of the things that, because we get lots of people emailing us about creating languages and stuff for things. One of the things that drew me to this is I'm a big fan and a long fan of what you call it, progressive rock. And progressive rock is something that started in the 1970s. You could argue the late 1960s, and it's associated generally with specific genres. There's a reason it's called progressive rock and not progressive music, which has a different connotation. Progressive rock is typically the type of thing you think about the mid 70s. You think of Genesis, you think of Gentle Giant, you think of Pink Floyd, and then as it moved, it kind of died in the 80s. There was a band, Marillion. The less said about them, the better. And as it picked back up in the 90s, what you saw was it moving into more metal areas, with like Dream Theater being the key band in the 1990s, Fate's Warning from the 80s and into the 90s, and also with even modern stuff that kind of gets poppy, like Tame Impala. And you saw expansion into like other areas in the 2000s, and so like you could look at something like Green Day's American Idiot as kind of an expansion of progressive rock. Definitely Janelle Monáe's stuff, which is outstanding, and I highly recommend you listen to. And even like new metal stuff like Coheed and Cambria. However, one place that I've never really seen progressive rock, that is this genre of music that kind of tells a story, tries to tell some sort of an epic story, with wild things happening and characters while being very melodic, and the music kind of connecting Sgt. Pepper style. I've never really seen it in what I would call 90s techno music. Like late 90s techno music, like club music, and I mean like you're going into the club and it's going boom, 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 that type of music. I had never heard of anybody doing any kind of progressive rock with that type of music. Robert Ratcliffe emailed us. He emailed us a sample of one of his first songs, and I listened to it and I'm like, dang, we're in the club now. We're in the club. This is cool. And yet what he had was this kind of far-reaching story element that was going to be added to the music. It's instrumental music.
Yeah.
But it was going to be added via narration. And so that sounded like a really cool, a really fun, a really different and interesting project.
With a very deep voice narrator who...
Lovely.
Just an incredible voice. And the narration is not through the entire music. It's just at key points to basically take you to the next stage of the music. And then the music plays, and it's sort of like it gives you space to imagine what may be going on. And then the narrator picks back up and keeps going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. So
it's very cool. And so the album, by the way, which is called Chronicles of the Residuum, is the full album. It's being released right now as we speak, one song at a time. I think it's on a 2-week schedule, but it's one song at a time until the full album release, which will be next month, so October 2025.
Yeah, end of next month, I think. So yeah, some of the songs are already out. You can go and listen to them right now.
You can find those songs that have been released on both YouTube and Spotify, and I'm pretty sure other places. I just know it's these two places for sure, and it's
Apple
under
Music.
Okay, and Apple Music, and it's under the username Chronicles of the Residuum, so you'll be able to find the music there if you want to go explore for yourself. For the Chronicles of the Residuum universe, we ended up creating 7 distinct language sketches, and you'll get a taste of some of those flavors today in this presentation. and a list of one-off names. And so those names are not connected to any of those other language sketches because they were intended for a lot of times monsters who were not at all connected to the other languages that were being spoken. And so they came from other sources, but the only thing you heard from that particular language was this one name. And so for those, they didn't need to be connected to the other elements that we were building. As a general piece of advice, and I threw this in there as I was going through and looking at all of our notes, if you are in a position where you are also looking at creating several sketches so that you can name places and people in a large fictional world, it's good to keep that documentation separated because I promise you these details can start overlapping. And so having a distinct landing place to say, okay, I'm only working in this language, so that way you only see the features that you should be using in this particular language build, it really helps. And so all of these have completely different documents in our notes, and I found that helpful, and I thought I may just throw it out there. I think some of us may be lumpers, and it's like put it all in one place so you can find everything for this project. But sometimes when you do that, it can be easy to start mixing up sketch features. I'll just put it that way. At minimum, if you are going to be creating a language sketch to support naming places and characters, at minimum you should be documenting the sounds of the languages, the allowable syllable structures, and the stress patterns. That's sort of a very minimum, and that can get you some unique sounding names that won't have meaning, because at this point, if all you're doing is documenting sounds, you're not assigning meaning to anything, which is what we did with the one-off names, because they didn't need meaning because they weren't connected to any other elements from the storytelling universe. If you want those names to have meaning, and if you're creating a connected world, then a lot of them really should, then you need to make and document more decisions, like the lexical decisions you're making and whatever grammatical features you need to support the names you want to create. So you need lexicon and grammatical features. So throughout this presentation, we're going to be using quotes from the official descriptions of each song in Robert Ratcliffe's Chronicles of the Residuum album. And so these quotes, by the way, as songs are getting released, you're going to see them with the YouTube descriptions. And so this is the official quotes. And I'm going in order of the songs just because it seemed to make sense in my head for we're going to talk about it. But that also means some of it we're going to end up being introduced to one language sketch, and then we'll return to it later at the end of the album. So just heads up, there are some languages that got kind of spread throughout. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Oh, one more note. Artwork is the official Chronicles of the Residuum art, and it was created specifically for the project. And I really wish I had looked up how to say his last name. Igor Kyriluk. And this artist is actually from Magic the Gathering. Igor did work for Magic the Gathering. And so some really cool artwork going on. Okay. Now I think we're ready.
Okay.
This is from Song 1, which is the prologue, Myth of Creation and Destruction. And in the official description, I've got the names that David and I created, big and in yellow. And so the description reads, when the Jarage Khalo, shadows of illusion, invade Zaknir, the utopian existence of the Obranage, the peaceful beings of light, is shattered. And so that's the opening description. Is this ringing any bells? David has not revisited these sketches since 2021.
It's been a while.
It's been a minute. The names here come from the ancient scriptures language sketch. So each language sketch doesn't have like a name in the language. Instead, it was named by the thematic world for Robert, because Robert was, doing the narration and the writing for everything. And so he named what this area or what these speakers would be speaking, and we followed that naming. So ancient scriptures is obviously not in the language itself. That's just what we called it for a documentation sharing files method. So let's talk first about jarege.
Oh, jarege.
Yeah, I know. I misstressed it while I was reading it off the slide because stress does move around for some of these languages. And so, Shadows of Illusion is the name that Robert said, this is what I want in the language. So that's what we were aiming for in the translation. We wanted something that would evoke Shadows of Illusion. And here is the breakdown. So in this one, jare means shadow. It's just a noun that goes back, meaning shadow. The ge suffix comes from aga, the root aga, meaning group. And this became a plural suffix on nouns. And so this was one feature of this particular language. When you see that ending, you can say, okay, this is a plural noun. Ha, the sometimes shows up, is negation, and it comes from a verb meaning to lack. And then alo comes from a noun meaning body, and it got extended, semantically extended, to also mean reality. So you could still use it to mean body, but it can mean reality. And in this case, lacking reality is how we refer to illusions.
And just especially for those who aren't very familiar with conlangi right now, what's happening here is that we've created an early stage of this language called the proto-stage, and then evolved it forward. And when you do that, both sounds and grammar and meaning, all three may change. In some cases they don't. So you can see there's not really a big difference between yare and jare, shadow, right? It means what it meant, and it still means that. But we create these older elements to, with the intention of turning them into morphology of some kind. Morphology is something that either, a change in a verb to indicate a change in tense, a change in a noun to indicate a change in number, that's inflectional morphology. In this case, we have derivational morphology. In other words, we've added this kind of like group suffix, which is, a plural in this case, right? That comes from this older word that actually just meant group. So it's like a shadow group would be now plural, right? And so there we get jarege. Ooh, and we must have had stress shift after the suffix was added. This is the type of thing that was relevant if you watched the last language game with Let's Have a Booba and all of us. It's relevant at which point stress is assigned, and also what stress is sensitive to.
And this one is sensitive to weight.
Yeah. But also, you can imagine if jare is the singular, then you add the suffix, you have a choice. Let's say if you have penultimate stress, which we do in this case. Are you going to move the stress so it goes from jare to jarege, which it does, or are you going to leave the stress where it is? So jarege, right? Yeah. And in this case, it was like, this thing was analyzed as a group so early that we're going to go ahead and move stress.
And for the purposes of the suffix, yes, the schwa always comes out as ge as the suffix for the plural marker. To answer Miles's question, in terms of what the root as the noun meaning group would do on its own, I actually don't know, because we never ended up using it as its own word, and so we had created it as a form where that initial vowel would end up dropping out in most cases, but don't actually know beyond that.
Miles is asking, even though it is a sketch with the root uga, does the vowel always stay as a? And the answer is right now, I don't remember.
That was literally what I just answered.
Brother.
We're doing good.
I know. And actually, I'm going to be right back. So you...
Jonathan is giving you a wow with 5 W's.
I'll be right back.
All right. Well, David's leaving me. I feel like I want to sneak forward. In this. Yes, Miles, we did. I'm going to sneak forward, and we're just going to say, you know what, David will catch up as we go. We'll all let David know what he missed when he got back. So this is the vocabulary that goes into the name Jarege Khalo. So a couple of things that we're pointing out here. We did grammaticalize affixes for these language sketches because that is in general just how we conlang. And so you're going to see elements of that throughout, where we did create some sort of older form that we could use to become affixes. Like the uga meaning group in its protoform, a lot of them never actually show up as a word on its own because it wasn't necessary. Some of them may have, like, I feel like in the overall language sketch, because you won't see all the names that are from the ancient scripture sketch, but I think Tilak actually did show up as its own root in the language. So some of them do show up, some of them don't, just because the names that we were creating didn't call for all of the elements that we were creating to support the naming conventions. In this particular language, we do mark plurals, so that is a grammatical feature. Some of the language sketches you're going to see we don't do that. We don't mark number, or we mark number differently. Here we do mark number, specifically the plurals are marked with that suffix. And so that's a grammatical feature of this sketch that will consistently show up when plural nouns are needed. Another feature of this language is that we went with a noun modifier word order. And so shadows of illusion, you see shadows showing up first and foremost. That's the head noun. So it's like the illusionary shadows is kind of like what we ended up going with. There were a lot of names that we created throughout this project that had an of interpretation. And so you'll end up seeing how we treated the sort of not quite possessive of that gets used a lot in names like this. You're going to see that we reduced a lot of them to modifying noun situations. Okay, so that is what I have to say about Jarege Khalo. And we're going to go on to the next name. Zachnir.
Zachnir.
So again, heaviness, and so closed syllables, long vowels, that pulls the stress in this language. And so instead of Zachnir, we get Zachnir, which means completeness. This breaks down to Zach, to complete, to finish, and then Nir is a nominalizer. I cannot find anywhere in our notes where Nir came from, so it may have just been something we thought was just going to be super old, always there.
Oh, I'm sure it came from something.
It probably came from something. 4 years ago, we probably had an amazing discussion. I'm sure it was the most brilliant idea we ever had, but there we have it. So there it is. Oh, thank you, Jonathan, and thank you, Madeline. And Mateus, all the compliments. Very appreciated. Not much to say about Zachnir, other than it means completeness. Obranage. Oh, do you want to say that?
Obranage.
Nice.
Like that.
David has such beautiful pronunciation. This one means enlightened ones, and you may already see from this name a suffix that you know and love.
Mm-hmm.
That plural suffix to make it enlightened ones. Here we have, we decided to do something a little different with how we actually did this in terms of how the meaning breaks down. And so we created an expression that means like with truth would be, you know, an enlightened person. If you walk around with truth, then you are enlightened. And then of course the plural makes it more than one person being enlightened.
Dang, that's good.
Right? And so op, we get this comitative prefix coming from opa, meaning side, and then rana means truth.
Yeah.
And do you want to?
No, that actually was exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
And you'll notice that the P of the op, it voices in front of an R. Mm-hmm. And so it's not opranage, it is obranage.
Mm-hmm. And you'll see some of these phonological features show up in more than one sketch. And I just want to point out right now, it's absolutely okay if you have a language feature that shows up in another language you're creating, because there's really only so many features to go around. And some of the features are so common that they show up in a great deal of languages in the world. And so something like voicing assimilation is very common. And so you may see that in some of our other sketches today.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we use this plural, and this actually is a cool use of the plural because it sort of forces accountable noun interpretation. And so, again, that with truth meaning, it gets kind of forced into, well, it's a plural marker on with truth, and so it gets forced into this enlightened one's interpretation. Continuing with the prologue, the description continues. A great war ensues, Zachnir falls, and our story begins. Enter a desolate, defeated soundscape where the beating heart of Yena Salah, the last of the Obrenage, underscores the creation of the vortex. And so this is where we get Yena Salah.
Nice.
Vessel of life. So here you really don't get much other than Yena, jar, urn, vessel,
Salah.
life.
Yep, because we've had nouns in apposition that have a kind of broadly genitival relationship. That is the X of Y. And so all you need to do is put them next to each other. That's really nice.
In the right order, of course. And so you'll see that repeated order, which of course helps because this is all from the overall consistency of the language. I started reading comments and absolutely lost which
Miles has taken things in a direction.
Oh,
the triangle colon means a long vowel, so
yes.
that's yanasala, like that, and unhelpfully, I've always thought they decided they wanted the length distinction to not just be a colon. They decided it needed to be sparkly special, and so they made them two little triangles rather than just a regular old colon. There's no reason for them to have done this. It's kind of like in Egyptologists, there's a character, the single reed, which is spelled with a J with a tiny little C where the dot would be ordinarily. A tiny little backward C where the dot on the J would be. There's no other J anywhere in Egyptologists' descriptions. It's just that it was pointless. It was ridiculous.
I feel like I need to use that. Just kidding. The prologue continues with this description as her final sacrifice echoes into the residuum. The terrible darkness of the Ashemos ushers in the age of destruction. All hopes now rest with the child of prophecy who alone can turn the tide of war and restore the fragmented vortex of creation. So this sets up our overall story that's being driven throughout the album. And we get another name, Ashemos.
Ashemos. Like that.
Ocean of death. And of course, you may be able to predict at this point which word means ocean, which word means death, if you've been following along. And you would be right if you had guessed that Ashe is ocean and Mos is death. Another name like Yena Salah, which didn't need much description. We just needed to create those nouns, and we created them.
Yeah, this is a good sketch. Nice and easy.
It is. Some of them are not. But you can see the consistency in the names, like Jarege Khalo, Ashemos, Yena Salah, all of which follow that noun modifier order. And these particular ones also have all that, like the of something kind of description. So again, like David had said, that kind of loose connection we ended up pushing together. And so that happens throughout this sketch. In the second song, Escape from Port Fallen.
This one has been released, yeah.
Yes, the first 6 have been released. The raiders infiltrate Port Fallen on a mission to save Unagu, the first and last child. I can't remember right now where the stress is, so it might be Unagu. I don't remember. But Unagu's mother sacrifices herself heroically so that others may escape in a tiny plane which soars across the fractured skies of the residuum. And this name comes from the desert language sketch, which is where our heroes come from.
Unagu.
Unagu, there we go. Without my cheat sheet, I can't quite remember where the stress goes. And this name breaks down into Unu, which means to walk, and then Agu, which means 1, like the number 1, not like person, but
Yeah,
the
yeah,
number
yeah.
one. And so to walk as one is unity.
That's cool.
I like it. I like it. In this particular form, you can see that there's a loss of internal unstressed vowels. That's actually really important for some of the other forms in this language, and I don't think you're going to end up seeing very many of them from the desert language sketch, if memory serves me. And so you won't necessarily see all of the crazy sound changes that were caused by the unstressed vowels inside words being changed, but unu becoming unagu instead of unuagu is actually a really regular thing that happens even in roots that end up having an unstressed vowel. You'll see if it's inside and it can be lost, it gets lost. And so that happens throughout this sketch. We did a lot of, we get some cool consonant clusters because of the conflation throughout this language sketch. We also have intervocalic voicing, so you may notice that aku, where that glottal stop, by the way, is lost, but aku becomes agu. And so that is another feature that happens. And so this you would see more in compound roots where something ends in, say, a voiceless stop or a voiceless fricative, and then it will, between vowels, end up getting voiced. This happened to be in the protoform. You could see that change.
Man, this is such a cheap and easy sound change for, people who are writing fantasy novels and stuff. Easy one to show differences between two groups. Like, say, for one people, they have this this fancy mountain is called Mitaka, and then for another group, it's called Midaga. Boom, easy. Just learn the voiced, voiceless pairs: P and B, T and D, K and G, S and Z, and so on.
Jake says, "This is what happens when you surprise a Japanese eel. Unag, ooh." That's amazing. Okay. Stormflight is the third song, and so you can see the plane that they left in here in the artwork. Without warning, the tiny plane bearing Unagu, Anku, who is the hero of the story, and the remaining raiders enter swirling dark storm clouds. With a flash of lightning, the great storm of Aksanikath hurls its wrath down upon them in a lurching, nauseous tirade. As the engines stall, can Veju keep control of the plane? Now here I don't remember what the stresses were, because we have reached the part where if it's in yellow, it's connected to a sketch. If it's in the salmon color, it is a one-off name. And so Aksanikath, it's not related to any of the other sketches. Nor is Veju. So these are one-off names that were requested. They're unrelated. They were not assigned meaning. They were built solely for the sound element to make it sound like a name that fit Robert's vision. And again, no meaning really could be assigned because we weren't making it part of any of these other sketches.
We're going with orange for this color here.
It was salmon. It's okay, David.
All right. So I'm wearing an orange shirt.
You're a one-off name. The name in this section comes from the desert language sketch, so Anku is from the desert world and reflects the same kind of sound changes seen in Unagu. The full name of Anku, which you don't see in this particular description, but in some of the narrations you hear the full name, is, what do you want to say this for me?
Anku das makolye.
That is exactly what it is, and that means life from death. And it breaks down with Anku being the word for life. The second word we get, dasma, is a complex prefix. So it's actually from an older compound, from itasu, meaning to leave, and ma'u, meaning heart. Put together, leaving the heart of something is the elative. And so it's the life that is coming out of death. And then kolye is death. And you can see where I had mentioned those internal unstressed vowels being deleted. You can really see it in these forms, including that trisyllabic root for
so
death.
it's like itas. Yeah. Oh, right, because the U gets lowered to an O after a Q, and then the Q changes to K. And so,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So there are a lot of cool things going on here. Oh, I didn't add any more other than that is the name.
Yep.
You see some of the same changes. And so that's from our desert sketch. The fog.
I
Nice.
like this.
Um, the fog, a senator. It is sinister. They're the same word.
Mm-hmm.
A sinister fog descends, and Anku drifts apart from the others. Wandering in the forest, sounds of. Go for it, David.
Grishkar.
The shadowless beast pierced the gloom, and a nervous static fear sweeps over her. A vision of a ruined cathedral restores calm just as the fog lifts. She returns to camp to find it empty. And so here, again, a one-off name. We had some fun with some of these, and you can see here we have this wonderful consonant cluster. Well, two of them with the gri, and then the vzh, and then gar is of course a new syllable, but like just some great smashing together here.
Yeah. Incidentally, whenever you see one of these unconnected names in this indisputably orange color,
The color.
we got strong assurances that these things were connected to none of the other cultures that we created, and that the name for them should be connected to nothing else. And we made sure we got those assurances, because otherwise, you don't want to just throw out Grishkar and then find out it's supposed to actually be some word that comes from the first language, and you're like, sir?
Yeah.
Anyway.
It is also really interesting to see the amount of notes we have for these one-off names, because it's honestly, I think, easier to create a whole language sketch to support a single name than it is to just create a name out of thin air. And you see this in how many notes we have with here's story elements working alongside it. Here are what the other sketches are doing, so it should be doing something different, so you can noticeably tell that it's a name that doesn't belong with Unagu and Anku. So you need like these sort of like differences. We had lists, like entire lists of like, well, what if we put these elements together? And you just, there's all these forms that we ended up not using, but just list after list of forms that we went through. And then through that brainstorming, we ended up presenting Robert with usually about 5 options per one-off name. So for every one-off name, Robert had a whole set of options to choose from. And then, from there, he chose which one he liked best, and that became the name of that character. But it was quite a process. Like, it took a lot of detailed planning to make sure that they have their own sort of ring, so that way it doesn't belong to this other world that it's situated beside. In the next description for Lizards of Death, you can see the little beasties here in the background. Captured by the Aduni, the raiders are dragged to a cliffside and left as an offering to the Chiuntrihi, the giant lizards of death. Emerging from the forest, Anku impales a lizard just as it lunges for Inagu, and the raiders flee. Where the ... dots happen, by the way, it was honestly musical description, and it made the full description too long for one slide. And so I tried to focus on the story elements here. The names in this section come from the rainforest language sketch, so these lizards of death are situated in the rainforest. A key feature of nouns in this language, which I found super cool, and I had totally forgotten about this, is that we had decided that every noun would have a possessed form and an unpossessed form. And unmarked nouns are possessed. If it's intended to be an unpossessed noun, it has the suffix that's written as I, pronounced E. And so that became a really driving feature of this particular language sketch, was having nouns end in E.
It's unpossessed, so it's free. Gets E on the end.
Oh my God. And so Eduni, by the way.
Eduni.
Oh, right. This was initial stress. Eduni means people. And this comes from, we have this opening unit meaning life. Un is the plural suffix, which comes from tun, meaning 3. And then the unpossessed suffix, which we did not create an ultimate source for, which this one actually could be so old that it just exists because it's sort of an interesting thing that ends up getting attached to a lot of nouns, is E. So altogether we get eruni.
Mm-hmm.
With
Intervocalic voicing.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And this is taken from a longer name. You may be like, wow, this character was named People. Yes. And what ended up happening for narrative purposes was Robert wanted big names for, like, this is when we give the full title or introduce someone. But then after that, I want to be able to just use a word within a longer story. And so eruni is short for erun chehkani. And notice it's no longer eruni because
Edu chehkani.
it's now being possessed by the chehkani. And chehkani has, the che is possessed, kani is the unpossessed.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's sort of like a string reaction. It's people. David sneezed. People of the womb, che is womb, of the forest. And so kan, forest. And so it's like the forest's womb is people.
That was for you, Jonathan. I used that button, that mute button. I used it well.
You did. I was actually very proud of you. But yeah, so this is like the longer name. And then of course when it's shortened, because it's being used on its own, it needs to have that E of the noun because it's just being used without the full possessive phrase.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get, say it for me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nice. Lizards of death. Notice here that, you can probably tell which word is lizard because it's the E suffix may give that away. Or the other way, death's lizards. Which word is death, rather? So chi is lizard. That same suffix un shows up again. So eduni, you now see here again in chi un. Tsun is again the ultimate source of that plural suffix. Trich is death, and then the unpossessed form.
Little conlinging note here. You will often see variability with affixes depending on whether they're added to words that end with a vowel or a consonant, or begin with a vowel or consonant, whatever. And sometimes you will see older consonants reinserted when the environment calls for it. But in this case, there's also the opportunity for reanalysis, and so something like chi ending with a vowel, that would be an opportunity for tun with the t to show up. But in this case, we decided to have reanalysis. It's un most places, and so when it just gets attached with a glottal stop, chi un.
And it sounds nice too.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned that intervocalic glottal stop insertion for this particular affix, again, like David said, instead of resuscitating that older consonant that is otherwise lost at the beginning of the suffix.
Mm-hmm.
We then enter Song 6, Mirror of Night and Day. Following the sounds of the ocean, the raiders arrive at the deserted shoreline of, remembering which one this comes from, Shawin Meli Sanyabi. The Mirror of Night and Day. They find an eruni fishing boat and set sail into the dusk. So we've already talked about eruni, and so now we'll talk about this name, which also comes from the rainforest language. So you see that same E suffix and the same sound shifts that have been introduced for this particular language sketch. So Shawin Meli Sanyabi is Mirror of Night and Day. And Shawin is a compound coming from body, sha, and win, water, or self, body, self, and then water. And that became the noun mir. Night is mil. Did you have something to say? Sorry.
Oh, it's just interesting how the mirror works. It's kind of cool.
And it comes from an older verb, tzach, meaning to gather, and then yap is from day. And so you see some of these same features. I think I put them on the next slide. This is where we see. Nope, I did not.
No, but intervocalic voicing for nyap going to nyabi. And then, of course, the possessive E suffix. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's night's mirror and day's mirror. And so you see those. In songs 7 and 8, which are the Cathedral of Time parts 1 and 2. By the way, this is the one that just got released, part 1.
I actually do want to go back really quickly. This is kind of interesting because the E, right, that's saying that it's unpossessed, right? But there's really no of in here, or the of is Shawin, right? So Shawin Meli Sanyabi. That's pretty cool that like it's the mirror of night and of day, but it's the Shawin that's doing all of that heavy lifting.
Because it's unmarked. It's the unmarked Shawin that's doing the heavy lifting.
Yep. It's been shaven. Sorry. Cathedral of Time, Part 1.
Yes, yes. So this description reads, at a convergence, the ruined cathedral from Anku's vision is revealed, perched high on a cliff top. While monks welcome the travelers with food and shelter, Anku runs through the cathedral and discovers a pentagonal chamber where a glowing figure is devoured by darkness. She stumbles and falls through time and between worlds. Dun, dun, dun. So that particular description, the song itself does have names in it, by the way. It's just this description didn't have them featured. And I don't want to use anything but the official descriptions that have already been released, because I don't know what might be a spoiler alert for anyone trying to follow along with the story as it's being released. And so I didn't mention what other names might show up in these songs that don't show up here.
Okay.
I limited it just in case.
That's fair.
Cathedral of Time Part 2, which will be released, I believe, in a week now, because Cathedral Part 1 just came out this week. Anku enters a bewildering maze of passageways stretching through time into the past and the future. Narrowly escaping a servant of the shadows, Anku finds her way back to the present just as the cathedral begins to collapse. So again, Anku, of course, desert name, but we've already discussed it, so nothing to talk about here quite yet, except this amazing artwork. I think this is my favorite artwork from the entire series that has been released so far, and in part because I just love the colors of it. I also love the castle. It's really gorgeous, I think. I also really like the fog artwork. That was, I think, my second favorite. There's just some really, really cool art going on. The artwork hasn't been released for these later songs, and so I repurposed some of the other artwork from the album in general, including reusing this artwork because I like it. Here we're entering the floating gardens of Gilasim. That is an I, not an L. It's a capital I.
Oh, you can tell.
Which is good, but lowercase L, capital I.
Is there any difference?
I don't think there is.
So.
And
think so.
I feel like the capital I is slightly thicker than the lowercase L.
It's like 1 pixel thicker.
Just slightly thicker. But it's fine. It's a long I. Oh, say that again.
Sorry. Gilasim Majmayadul, right?
Floating islands of the sky is where the raiders travel through colorful gardens into a trap. Guard C, Zunagu, while King...
that's an L.
That's an L.
I'm sorry. It's
obviously
you're right,
thinner.
because it's so skinny, right. Ul agusho aj rachazak.
Tentacles. Writhe with glee. All right, so this, we enter the world of the floating gardens. The names in this section, I guess it's not floating garden, floating island, I think is what it was actually called, but floating gardens, floating island, it's all there. And so we are now entering a new language sketch world. This language featured a lot of vowel lengthening sound changes, and so you will see those throughout the sketch. These particular names also required us to actually build out quite a few verb features, because there were a lot of names with participles, both active and passive. So we have passive structures. We also had a lot of verb-object pairings that were presented in the names. And so when you think about this, you think about, well, what's the difference between Singing Caverns and Broken City? Shattered Dreams and Dreaming Orbs. There were a lot of different names that combined elements of verbal morphology that really got us into some grammatical features where I think if I were to assess the state of like which language could we actually more quickly start putting full clauses together in, I think this one may be it. Just because we really did have to go through a lot of, well, what order, how are we going to do this, and bigger things than noun-noun juxtaposition would otherwise require. And so here, say that name again for me, David.
Oh, look at where the stress is and is not. Wow.
I may be wrong on this. It said heavy syllables were stressed, and I interpreted heavy syllables like stress was penultimate unless the final syllable was heavy.
Gilas.
And so I assumed that the las was heavy.
Okay.
I need to go back to the original sound recordings.
Gilasim majmayadul.
I love it. So yeah, some of these, by the way, because our notes, longtime followers of us are going to be shocked to find this out, but we didn't include all the IPA in our notes. Rather, David recorded them like immediately when we finished doing them.
I knew what I was doing.
And so I didn't go back and listen to the recordings, though. That's on me. I looked at our notes, and our notes said if it's heavy, it attracts the stress to the final syllable. So
right.
There we have it.
All right.
There we have it. Oh, Jonathan had to go. Bye, Jonathan. All right, so this name, we have a lot of components going on. We've got Gilas, which is interesting because we end up getting that long I, which I believe it was conditioned by voiced consonant placement. Voiced consonants around vowels in certain ways led to lengthening of those vowels. It means piece or fragment. Im means last. You can see the M ended up, that coda M lengthened that particular vowel. Aj is the preposition from or of, and it comes from the verb meaning to leave. And then mayadul comes from my, heart, and adul, home. And you can see that the my of the heart ends up becoming a consonant for maya, or the ya for adul being added to it. For heart home is a paradise.
It's lovely.
It really is, isn't it? In this, you see that we chose not to have any number marking, and so gilas, piece, pieces, fragment, fragments, all the same. And that is something you see through other names in this particular language sketch. You don't see any indication of noun number on these. Oh, that was all I mentioned. Do you have anything you want to throw in there?
I really want to go and listen to the recording.
Yeah.
I also don't understand why that I is being lengthened in Gilas.
I did not 100% understand that either because in general,
Seems
all
like
the other lengthened vowels had a coda that was voiced, and this one didn't. And so
Feels like there's a suffix on there, an as suffix.
that may actually be it. It may be that gil meant something and then as meant something else. We didn't, however, write that down.
Yeah.
And so I was recreating this based on our notes. So I feel like there's something else going on as well, but I don't know what. Now I want to dig into it again. I need to dig into it. This one, by the way, this is the first language that you will have seen in these sketches where of is indicated by its own unit. Rainforest, we did the, possessed, unpossessed marking. But this one, we actually have prepositions to say what meaning is of likely taking in this particular unit. And here it's the last fragments from paradise rather than, a genotypal thing. And so we assigned meaning and created a preposition for it. You can also see that gilas is the head noun here. And so it's like noun, attributive modifier, and then post-modifying preposition phrase at the very end. Another name.
Lagusho Ajra Chazak. It's good.
One is good. Chosen by the destroyer. So now you can start seeing, think about all the elements grammatically that go into chosen by the destroyer. So now you can see why we had to do so much verbal decision making. And so ul is a particle, it's a passive marker coming from ulu, meaning palm of the hand. Agusho comes from ak, to choose, and then usho is a perfective marker. And so it means like chose or chosen, depending on how it's used. Here, because it's with a passive marker, ul, agusho, altogether is chosen. Aj is that same preposition we have already seen. And then the final word breaks down to rach, person, and chazak, to destroy. And so that rach prefix is an agentive prefix for verbs. So to destroy becomes destroyer with that ra addition. There's a lot going on this one. Eye of Anku's mind is possessed as her gaze is held by that of the newly awakened Eye of Rona Yosho. Nightmarish visions overwhelm her subconscious until she is released into an unquiet sleep, the child far from reach.
I'm so curious to see if there's going to be different stress on this. Let's see.
This is also from the floating island.
Oh, okay. Then it's going to be Rona Yosho. Okay.
Yeah. And it means broken one. And you may see a couple of elements that may remind you of our last name that we had. Here we have that same nominalizer, except it ended up coming out as ro when it's a passive nominalizer versus ra when it's agentive. And that was because another unit got added to it. And I didn't write it down on the slide. But it was like ra and then ul. Yeah, because it came from the palm. And so when you end up pushing those together as a prefix, suddenly ra becomes ro. And so that I thought was pretty cool. Naya means to break, and then that usho suffix from agusho shows up here as osho because naya usho now suddenly becomes osho, the perfective. And so remember rachazak got that same prefix at work here. And so ra is active, ro is passive, again because the u passive marker would have been compounded with the ra.
That's pretty cool.
And then remember agusho, and then it again becomes osho because of the ending vowel of break. All right. These consistencies help create the illusion that these names come from an established, fully fleshed out language. Again, there are a lot of features we built up to support them. So many features that if we wanted to turn any of these sketches into languages, we absolutely could. All we would need to do is keep building features. It's like basically a sketch is the start of the full language. But you stop when you have what you need for those purposes. And the only reason you stop really is because there's too much work that you have to get done on the whole thing and a deadline to get the work done by.
Sure.
That's really what stops you from going on. We didn't let that stop us for Sovala. We didn't stop at the features that would have given us the names for these characters. We instead, 5 years in the making, are creating names.
I still have plans. Like, I still think it would be really cool to come up with individual names for each of the songs for each bard.
David has plans.
A lot more grammar.
I when he said I have plans, I thought it was going to be more storytelling with like actually writing little things in the languages, especially for like
storytelling, but not writing stuff in the language. That sounds like work.
But like, could you imagine in the little book just having like background things that they don't even know what the little things say, but unless they learn the language?
Oh, I suppose I could do that.
It could be kind of fun just to have on the pages. I don't know. And oh, our commenters, I love you all. You are amazing. Song 11, Dream Within a Dream. As Anku floats towards the vortex of creation, she is carried to a vision of light where all is still. When the vision fades, hope pervades her senses. No names to be had. But then we get to the Knights of the Mem Itarai, or the Prophecy. Anku awakens surrounded by the Knights of the
Mem itarai kaskas.
the Sacred Order of the Vortex, who have brought her back to life. They tell her of the Child of the Prophecy, and she joins their quest to save Unagu from King Ulagusho. The name in this section comes from the ancient scripture, so we're going back to that initial sketch that we introduced, which, as a reminder, features noun modifier order, and that noun modifier order is also how we took care of a lot of the of phrases, and so that will be important again. Because this name breaks down to Sacred Order of the Vortex.
Oh, itarai. Itarai. Mem itarai kaskas.
Yes. And so here's that full name, and let's break it down piece by piece. We have mem, David's favorite root, meaning path. Eat is a prefix coming from the noun foot, and it became a locative marker. Tarai means light, and then kaskas is a reduplication of to whirl, and then that created the meaning vortex, a whirl.
Matei says vortex isn't an easy word to conlang until it is. Boom, boom. Reduplication, it's always there for you.
It's always there, always there. It has your back. Let me tell you, there were so many words that we needed to translate for this project that really stretched my understanding of how the English words even worked. I had to, there was a lot that we ended up needing to do where it's like you're trying to capture the right feeling, but you first have to understand the connotations from choosing, say, vortex versus whirlpool, or something else. You had to really get into, why would this word be chosen in English, and what of that key feeling could we pull out and really focus on in what words we choose to use for the translation. And there were a lot of times where literally what we were doing as we worked was really just thinking. A lot of downtime. You could imagine if we streamed these work streams, it was a lot of, let's brainstorm on this. And so that is the name here. Moving on. Song 13, we get Dead City. The knights cross the howling desert of Zorain, passing through ominous mountain ruins into the Dead City and the temple of Darur. They must survive evil vampiric beings known as Vaz-Ashruvo. No, I did that wrong.
Vaz-Ashruvo.
I did my fricatives backwards.
Yeah.
I absolutely reversed them. Who watch from the darkness. And so here we get names from the cursed lands, or the cursed lands, as the case may be.
You reverse the fricatives, you get Van Fog for Van Gogh.
I kind of like Van Fog. And what is Starry Night if not fog amidst the stars to swirl them up?
Or it was just a van producing exhaust, also known as Van Fog.
That is it. All right. Zorain means howling desert. And so let's talk about this name. It's a very short discussion. Zura, howl in desert. In this particular sketch, we decided that verbs, unmarked verbs, could be used as participles, participial modifiers. And so howling desert is literally just howl desert. And so here I think I mentioned modifier noun word order here. And so you see that this order is different from some of the other sketches. Obviously, the order gets repeated across 7 different sketches. You're going to see some of the same orders some places, because how many orders can 2 elements go in, David? It's really, you got 2 options.
Yep.
Pick one. This particular one, we went with a more head final kind of order, and so the modifier comes first. Daru. This one was...
Daru.
Yeah, I think this one was all initial stress, if I remember correctly. This means tears. And that breaks down to dar, tear.
Sand.
And ura, sand, which is the inanimate plural marker. And I will say we do have notes that there was going to be an animate plural marker. The cursed lands or the cursed lands were a deserty area, not the desert world, but it was wastelands from what used to have life. And so what was left was like a desert, but deader than a desert. And so sand became the inanimate plural marker. The animate plural marker was actually going to be based off some sort of rabbit-like creature that would still be there. However, none of our plurals were animate. And so
That's too bad.
you only see...
You didn't see the plurals that came from flippity hops.
Exactly. That was the exact root, I think, that we used for those rabbits. So Bloodstalkers is the name of those vampiric beings. Vaz Ajruvo. Yes, and I was right. It is initial stress. So
Vaz Ajruvo. Oh, that's good. I like that.
It really flows nicely, especially when you get the fricatives in the right order.
Yeah.
So here we've got Vaz is blood. Ajre is to stalk or hunt. Uva, hand, is the agentive nominalizer. And then ur is that same suffix that we saw on the last one, but it became oh because of the uva. Hand, uva, ur became uvo altogether. And so this is how we get Bloodstalkers. You can see that we had OV word order for this, so that I had mentioned we went more head final in this particular language sketch. And you can see this because Bloodstalkers, they stalk blood. So blood is actually like the object of the verb in this particular construction. And so we ended up going with an object-verb word order here. And you may be wondering, well, why is this inanimate? They're stalkers, so they are ones who stalk, and yet they're vampires. They're not considered living. They're,
They don't
of
deserve.
the dead.
They don't deserve the flippity hops.
They are not rabbits. They are sand. And so for that reason, they use the same suffix that you saw in daru, which is the word for tears. Next, we enter the nest of Hovzach. Heading for... Go for it, David.
You want me to just read this one?
Yes, please. I'm going to take a drink of water while David reads to you.
Heading for Beksu's Givmet, the cliffs of silence, Anku and the knights enter a cave and brave the web-strewn nest of Hovzach, queen of the Vrachzuban. Distracted from feeding on half-eaten bodies, the giant arachnids attack in a nightmarish frenzy, and the knights fight for their lives.
Ooh. These are from the spiders language sketch. We've entered the web of actual little spiders.
Yep. Get ready, Jake.
Why Jake specifically?
I don't know. I can't remember. It's funny, I forget things a lot since I went on this expedition to South America to study spiders with my mother.
Oh my gosh. My brain absolutely did not jump there. Of course, Jake. Jake, listen up. Oh my gosh, my brain was... Talk about brain fog. Right here.
Van Fog.
All right, so here we have final stress.
Beksu. Dang. Beksu's Givmet. I got it wrong. Beksu's Givmet sounds great. I love it.
I apologize. I forgot that this was the one where we went all final stressed. And this was, well, we could have asked Jake, but this was several years before.
Yeah,
before Pinkeshku was even a glimmer in your eye.
Yeah, this is proto-Keshku.
I want to see all the sound changes and grammar changes that Jake would have to insert to make this the protoform of Pinkeshku. It's going to be, whew. All right. So here this breaks down to, I love, too, that I went out of order here.
Oh, we went, what?
I put them in the wrong order. Beksu should be first in my list.
Oh, okay. Wait. What? There has to be a typo here.
Why?
So we're saying that... Oh, I see. There was word final devoicing.
Yes.
But then when it's next to a voice thing... Okay, I got it. I'm sorry. Never mind. Forget I said it.
So David is over his moment. You missed he actually took off his glasses. like there's no camera running right now, so you missed a whole moment where David literally took his glasses off to stare at this.
I apologize.
Um,
It wasn't warranted.
and Bexu means cliffs. Zgif means noises. And met means empty, but it also gets used as a suffix to mean less or without.
Yeah.
And so it's cliffs without noises.
Yeah.
And so some features that you may notice
Yeah.
include word final devoicing.
Uh-huh.
So zgiv becoming zgif.
Mm-hmm.
Also noun modifier, word order. So we got cliffs, and then the without noises is describing the cliffs. And the unmarked nouns are plural forms. And so that is something that you see throughout this particular language. And we actually had a whole little thing written up about this.
Yeah?
Yeah, because they're spiders, and like always, there's always a lot of them. And so,
Right.
like, because everything is with multiples, they think in the plural as part of their, like, there's always a lot of us. They have lots of plates, they have lots of
Yeah, I think...
kin and relatives.
Yeah,
Their
we
webs
were-
have lots of threads. It's like, it's just, you know, a very plural.
Yeah, I think Jake will really understand this and reinforce this. You have to understand the nature of the spider to create the spider language. And so we got fully into the mentality
Uh-huh.
of the spider, really understood them at their level. That's the only way that you can do it properly. Just can't be done otherwise.
Indeed.
Any other being, it's fine.
I don't know. I feel you really got into the rabbit mind meld when we did Ingala.
Oh, the rabbits, no.
The secret of the fourth canon cannot be understood
Okay, yeah.
until you discuss the fifth canon, which is forbidden.
Anyway.
David and his possums. Another name from this portion.
Chovzaks. Nope. Chovzak.
Thank you, David.
I just learned that dang IPA yesterday. Sometimes I make little mistakes.
She who devours is the queen, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And that is important because rof, meaning to swallow, which of course maintains its voiced V in this particular area, takes a marking that is only used to indicate that the subject is the royal one. And so this Z suffix is the third person royal. And again, only used for the queen. So this is like a very specific suffix. And then ach is all. And so in this, you see again that word final devoicing. And so the V, which shows up in the form itself, is because it's not word final. Versus, you know, if you were to use it in isolation, it would be devoiced. And the same with ach. And so that final voiced fricative devoices to ach because it is indeed word final in this particular construction. You can see that there is subject-verb agreement marking, and specifically they do also have this royal marker, which gets used to honor their queen spider. And we have verb-object word order, and so devours all. That pronoun all follows. Is David causing trouble?
Oh, we're just memeing over here from the pre-Miles stream.
Yes. And that name.
Oh, this is an early one, wasn't it? Harvesters of Death. I remember this
Yes,
one.
yes. I think Spiders was actually
Vrachzuban.
one of our first sketches that we did, actually.
Vrachzuban.
And so here you can see elements that we've already discussed, but we've got vrach means to collect, zum to die, and then un is a nominalization from the noun meaning time.
Zum, zum, zum. Yep.
You can see here another cool feature we did was nasal fortition, intervocalic nasal fortition.
We got away with that. Hang on a sec. Spiders, you're right.
We got away with it. You got to
Spiders.
get in the right mindset.
Yeah,
Obviously,
it makes a lot of sense if you know spiders.
it does. Jake understands.
Mm-hmm.
We have that same verb object word order, and so, you know, vrach to collect, and then Zuban is death. So the nominalization of to die, you've got that as the object. Whoop. And then notice here the vrach, to collect, does not have that third person royal agreement because these are not the queen who are harvesters of death. This is
Yeah, they're just the harvesters.
the minions. They're the minions of the queen. And so you don't get that. But you do see that the name, go ahead and pronounce the name for me.
Rovzach.
It literally means swallows all, and that mirrors,
Vrach Zuban.
which literally means collect death.
Nice.
And so that is a naming strategy and overall structure that gets repeated through both. In song 15, we have the attack of the Ixie. Aboard a crowded train filled with people escaping Fianna, the knights come face to face with the terrifying winged Ixie as the train travels through a mountain tunnel, Anku channels rather, the Kai Idrana to slay the Jarechalo, one of the shadows of illusion, then drifts into the light, helpless and half unconscious. Before I move on, I will point out Fianna and Ixie. Not much to say about them. They're one-off names, and so these were, again, compiled separate from all of the other sketches we were doing. Notice, though, Jare Chalo instead of Jarege Chalo, because it's one. It's a shadow of illusion.
Yep.
It's not meant to be the plural Jarege. And so that was a distinction that was made throughout the narrative storytelling was, are we talking about one of these? Or are we talking about, more than one? And so jarege gets used, dependent on context. In this case, it's just one. Let's talk about Kaidrana. It comes from the ancient scriptures language. So we're going back to the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Kaidrana means true essence.
Lovely.
And this breaks down to Kai, meaning spirit. It is the locative that you saw in Iterai, if you recall from that name. You see that same prefix. And then Rana is truth, which you saw in Obranage. So that same root gets shows up here. Mm-hmm. And so again, like those consistencies of like, if you really start looking at the full list of names, you're going to start seeing elements that are used throughout, and so that helps create this cohesive feel for all of these character names. We have that voicing assimilation, like Obranage. Mm. We got the it becoming id, the op becoming ob, so you see that in both. You see noun modifier word order, like Ashimos, another name from the ancient scriptures. I feel like I was going to say something else, and that was all that I had on that slide.
Oh, I like this word.
Do you want to read this one?
When the knights reach the swamp where Gilasim plummeted from the sky, they are horrified to discover Unagu's bloodied cloak among the corpses. As the Krauch, mighty beast of the swamp, awakens from its slumber, a grieving Anku must once more call on the Kaidrana to save them.
I should have had you reading all of these. I love your reading voice.
Oh, that was just a gag.
You did great. You gag and it's great. Wow.
Also, there you go. Also, though, I remember you should hear the guy who's actually doing the what you call it,
the narration.
Thank you, because he reminds a lot of Christopher Plummer. Right, that's the name I'm remembering. Epic metal dude.
I don't know that.
He was the guy who was in The Lord of the Rings who told Peter Jackson, that's not what it's like when somebody's stabbed. I've been stabbed. I'll tell you how. Did you not hear this story?
No, sorry.
He played was it Saruman? The other wizard. Not the one that looked like a big eye for some reason.
Okay.
But the one that looked like a human.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Saruman?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, him. Yeah.
And he's been stabbed.
Yeah. And so, like, there was this scene. Christopher Lee, thank you, Biblaridian. Christopher Lee. There's this scene where, this character is being stabbed and he's giving him direction about, what to do. And he's like, that's not actually what happens when you're stabbed. let me tell you, because it's happened to me.
Wow.
Anyway.
No, I did not know this.
No.
I will also say, Mateus, I think, is like on the verge of needing to go to bed, but like I think now it may just stay to be like, what else do I need to correct here? uh, all right, so here we have the one-off name. Say it for me, David.
Kralch.
Like I knew I was just not up for that in that moment. And this is a mighty beast of the swamp. Obviously going for a vibe. Again, not connected to the other sketches.
Mm-hmm.
In City of Echoes, go ahead and read this, David. I am so happy to hear you read.
The knights voyage underground through a mysterious watery maze until they reach a vast lake. Shimmering ethereal arpeggios ripple as from the waters rises Limatiesu, City of Echoes. As Anku peers into the sacred pool of Okiyama, she sees a child's reflection and realizes Unagu may still be alive. And this is one of those instances where you could see the person who wrote this was British.
Yes. And David says that with some degree of spite toward the realizes with
Realizes.
the... Anyway.
Realizes.
Obviously does not like that S. So the names in this section come from the Mirror World language sketch. It's one of my favorites.
Ooh.
And
Limatiesu.
the City
Nice.
of Echoes. And so this breaks down to a plural prefix, which is li or lim, depending on what follows it, which means many. Echo is a voice bounce, and so a and then t, and that comes together, limati. And then esu was just an older form meaning city. And one feature of this language is that you won't find any closed syllables. And so it is all open syllables. And so that is one sort of sound feature that gets carried throughout the language. You can see that we mark plurals. Here in this case, it's a prefix. And so again, that li or lim, depending on whether a consonant or a vowel follows, prefix. We have modifier noun word order. And we can use verbs as nouns with zero derivation. That means we don't need to mark them to use them. So here, T is actually the verb to bounce. And it's being used as, like a noun in this case because it's a voice bounce. And it's being used in a very nouny way to create that noun echo. And this is one feature of this language, that you don't need to mark the verbs to use them in nominal ways. Like the cursed lands where you don't need to mark verbs to use them in an active participial kind of way, this is just another way you can use verbs without marking them. Okiyama means resonance. That's another word that, Mateus had mentioned that vortex is a difficult word to translate. Resonance is another one.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got like echo and you've got some of the other words that we needed for names in this particular world. They have the same semantic field in a lot of uses, and so you need to figure out ways to distinguish them, again thinking through what is the deeper meaning being conveyed in this particular instance. I agree, Mateus. Like, it really gives a lot of work mentally when you get these abstract words that you need to translate. Like, the mouse ran into the cave, on it. But then suddenly as soon as it switches to even like the rodent, because now you got to think, well, it's not a specific one, and so there's potentially a connotation, but they used rodent, not varmint, and then there's into the cavernous opening, and it's like, well, what is that? And it's like it just becomes really difficult as you start getting more and more abstract to translate. For this particular one, resonance, we decided to create a very abstract compound.
We sure did.
And resonance breaks down to a soul shaking, a shaking of the soul.
Wow.
Right? We're deep.
That's
Did you know
pretty
we were
cool.
this deep?
No.
One thing, and I'm hoping I mentioned this, I'm going to hit the next arrow, but it may be... Okay, so one thing, we lost the H here, and so you can see that.
Glottal deletion.
And, again, no codas are allowed And so when a protoform has a coda, you've got to insert an epenthetic vowel. And so here, kiam becomes kiama.
Yeah.
And you see the same zero-derived verb to noun, because to shake becomes a shake. And that same modifier noun, word order. So a soul shake. Throughout, we are nearing the end. So we'll have like half an hour for open questions, I think.
Yeah.
Throughout, the most important takeaway is that consistency is really everything when you're creating a world, especially when you're naming places and people, and you want it to feel like these belong in their distinct regions. You want someone to be able to come across a new name and have a feeling for where they might belong in the world, just based on what that name is. And so you get that through consistency, and that really builds the cohesion that drives storytelling in general. So to give you an overall view, these were all the names we talked about today, broken down by the language sketches that we did. And so as you look at them, you may be able to remember some of the things that we talked about throughout, but you can also start seeing, like I said, some of those consistencies for what shows up where. And again, I didn't go into like showing you sound inventories of each and every language sketch, because there's a lot of sound inventories to go through, but it does follow, syllable structures, stress patterns, sound inventories that we had described for each sketch, which was, unique for each sketch. Some of the features we had talked about are highlighted here. Some of them I had even forgotten to add, like the idrana. I forgot to add the itarai. I forgot to mark those as being similar from the ancient scriptures. But it just gives you an overall view. Anything underlined is a sound feature that was unique to that particular language sketch. Anything not underlined was a grammatical feature that shows up in different names that you see. Of all of them, by the way, the cursed lands are the only one where dental fricatives show up. And so anytime you see the dental fricative, it's a cursed land name. Mirror World is the only one that had that, no closed syllable. And so I just separated out the syllables, because those names really stand out based on how they're all, consonant vowel kind of orderings. And of course the rainforest with all those E names, I really like that. Oh, Miles, we don't get a guess that sketch quiz at the end. That would have been good. We have more names. We have more names than all of these, so it really, really could have. Jake has a question. What was the process like getting the narrator to say the names? I'm going to actually, before we answer that, just want to say thank you to you all. And you're amazing. And then I'm going to put us on our final slide.
Yeah.
Here we are amidst our thanks. And so Jake's question.
So, of course, just like with any other project, I recorded all of these things on MP3 and sent them along. And then Robert sent us samples back of the narrator reading them. Honestly, I was stunned, because they were really good. Like there weren't any mistakes. It's a very British pronunciation, but even so, he was hitting everything. So honestly, no process at all. Sometimes you luck out, and he lucked out. He was a good one, and that means something coming from me, because I've worked with plenty of bad ones, and I'm usually not shy about saying that. But yeah, he was a good one.
I am actually. Let me know if another one comes up.
Jesse's trying to get a little copyright infringement on this stream.
Robert knows we're doing this. I don't think he's going to pull it down.
No. But
we can just pick one at random and kind of start playing it, just to give a flavor of the beast.
Yeah.
I don't know which one will be.
Stormflight, maybe. Like, I'm trying to think of one where it's
where it starts off with
narration.
where
it starts off.
I think Stormflight is going to be our best bet to make sure we start off with some narration. I'm going to play it on my computer, so that way hopefully it channels through without giving feedback, I think, because it's just going to be another voice in the room. And I'm just going to kind of play so you can hear the narrator's voice, and hopefully hear at least one name.
So you're gonna have to go back. Oh wait.
They flew for some time through the fractured and ever-changing skies of the Residuum, and eventually emerged above a vast ocean. The calm waters extended indefinitely in all directions. But quickly, and without warning, the clouds thickened and converged, and the surrounding blue sky became an unbroken layer of grey. Suddenly, they were submerged in darkness. Lightning flashed, thunder roared, and strong winds jostled the plain. They were now at the mercy of the great storm of exile.
Yep.
So Aksanikath shows up
Yeah.
there. So hopefully you heard that.
Kind of gets buried on that one, but you know, like by the time the whole album comes out, you'll hear him, and he's pretty good. Which says he sounds like my impression of Biblaridian in a good way. Is there a bad way? My impression of Biblaridian is
Well,
flawless,
I feel like Biblaridian should be the one to answer that.
flawless, and done with love, and loved by all.
There-
Waterman.
There was there's a thought I was going to chase. But one of the cool things with this is, like with the descriptions, the words that we created are just woven into the narration. Like there's no pause, there's no surrounding, like we're introducing something new. It's just they're woven right into the overall English narration. And the narration itself does a good job of, you know, saying something and following it up with like a shadow of illusion or something where meaning is important for understanding the overall story. And so it gets followed by that, but then eventually like that kind of drops out, because once you hear that enough, you know that, okay, anytime I hear Jarege, I know that, you know, it's one of these shadows of illusion. And so it is done really, really well. And so it's been really cool to hear all of the different ones. Again, you can just find those videos on YouTube by searching Chronicles of the Residuum. And the first 6 or 7, I think it's actually 7 now, are released and available for public listening. You can also find it on Spotify and Apple Music. I was going to see also if I could find the recording that you did.
Ooh, the Gilas.
Yeah, to get.
All right, which one was that specifically?
Well, I think Gilas would have been rainforest, right? No.
Yeah.
I know it's not Mir. I know it's not that. Here we go. And this is the full name, and this is not. Okay. All right.
You're gonna have to download it.
I'm gonna.
Download now.
Well, if I open it with this, it'll download.
Oh, I suppose.
And then right now my computer's on really quietly. I will turn it up and let's hear.
Gilasi Mashmayadul.
I think it was on the initial.
It was absolutely initial stress.
I did that wrong. I apologize.
Gilasi Mashmayadul.
Yeah.
that
It
was
sounds just
nice.
like me. It's a good impression that your computer does of me.
It should sound like you. I would hope. I would hope. And then the other thing I want to do is see if I can find Gil separate from Gilas.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I just want to see if I can find that note, because I'm so curious now to see if we did separate that for that long vowel. Do we have any other questions coming up?
No. I want to continue on with the theme, with the general idea here, which is, I know that what we've discussed so far, especially for non-conlangers, might seem a bit difficult. It's really not that difficult for a conlanger and doesn't take that much time. It may not be the thing that you're interested in if you're a writer, but there are plenty of conlangers who are interested in this type of thing that you can work with. And again, this type of work, coming up with a language sketch just for names and things like that, Doesn't take a lot of time, doesn't take a lot of effort. And so it's something that can be done quickly and can be done very well by many, many conlangers if you ever wanted to work with somebody else. And it's much better to start this way because it is easier to build onto a language sketch and make it into a full conlang that actually works out and that does everything that you need to, than it is to try to take something that somebody who didn't know what they were doing created and find any kind of meaning in it. Try to find any kind of coherence in it, and then produce something else on top of that. The only people that can really do that are fans of big media franchises that pay no attention to conlanging at all. They seem to be expert at this. These are like the Star Wars fanboys who will just say, no, it all works out because of this, this, and this. And then they just take a bunch of garbage and actually say that it works. And they satisfy themselves with that, but no serious conlanger. Anyway, so I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it, especially if you have different cultures within your work, and they're going to be represented in any way, whether it's names, personal names, or place names. If you're going to be hearing them at all, it's worth investing a little bit of effort and time into, and worth working with a conlanger if you're not going to do it yourself. Anyway, you able to find anything?
I cannot answer that question for the Gilas. And so I honestly am not 100% sure. I have an idea of what was going on, but like I would need to break down a lot more of these units. I think that one may have actually lengthened as I had mentioned that we didn't otherwise mark number in the sketch, and I thought that was the case based on the translations that I saw. But I think what I was looking at was a lot of nouns that already had lengthened initial vowels, and I think initial vowel lengthening may have been a plurality marker.
Huh.
Like gilas becoming gilas.
Well, that would be a thing, wouldn't it?
I think it would be a thing, but
wouldn't explain the stress necessarily, but
no, but it would explain the long vowel where you otherwise wouldn't see it, because it happens in one other word where it's like I wouldn't expect that vowel to be lengthened, and it is also interpreted plural.
Lonnie. No.
I need to now look at this list several times, but it's the hard thing about going back 4 years and remembering to remembering what you were thinking in the moment, and especially these we worked on in quick succession, and so it's like as soon as we finished the names here, we sent the recordings and then boom onto another sketch. And so as long as we remembered what we were doing in the time span spent on that particular sketch, we were fine, and we were only working on one sketch at a time, so it worked for us. But unfortunately, I do not see why we lengthened that vowel immediately. Got to do a lot more searching. And yeah, you're absolutely right. The stress thing can do with how you define heavy syllables, and that's absolutely, like, it may have been the long vowel that was the heavy syllable, because it's gilas and then mayadul. And so, anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, this one, no. Oh, wait, this is that one, Stone Guardians. Here it is. Rabaku. That initial ah has no reason to be lengthened outside of its plural.
Could they just have been a long vowel?
Baku is to guard.
Oh.
And then ra is the agentive ra that we've seen in other words. And so the only reason it would be lengthened is to indicate plurality.
Yeah.
So I think that we did something internally cool where it was like plural nouns have to have a long vowel
Oh,
in its initial syllable.
yeah, there's the Temple of the Shattered Dreams, Rafi.
And so it's, when servants is Rafi.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, okay, okay.
Plural, yeah.
And then here, this was another one I had looked at where I thought there wasn't number marking because
Yeah.
Zeus with a long U is dream,
Uh,
but it's already long because the
Yeah.
final
Yeah,
Z
yeah,
voiced
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And so,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and absolutely, you really should take notes on everything that you do. And we try.
We
We
have a
just
lot of
fail
notes here. I will
sometimes.
say we have a lot of notes.
Could have been lengthened from like reduplication type thing.
Yeah. And then it ends up, a lot of nouns look like they're not marked because if they had a voice coda, they have a long, vowel.
Mm.
And so it ends up looking like a thing where some are marked and some aren't. And so I feel like now I want to go back and fix that presentation, but
Yeah.
alas, here we are.
Yep. Anyway, and so yeah, at any point in time, these languages could be, these sketches could be turned into languages, like full-fledged languages, if that were necessary. But yeah, otherwise that's it.
Hey. So we had 20 minutes.
Later on, Mateus.
Bye, Mateus.
Yeah.
Hey, David.
Yeah.
20 minutes. You want to pull up a Fox document and try to name a fox? I mean, what else are we going to do but say goodbye?
Well, I mean, I feel like maybe we could give people a little break before Madeline takes over. But, I did want to mention, since for whoever was paying attention when we were doing the last Fox naming thing, we were thinking about naming some of the Umbra-mancers based on the word Canaan. And then we realized, first of all, of course, it's an impermissible, syllable shape. But also the foxes don't have, the only nasals they have are bilabial. Like, the only time that you can get any type of other nasal is when there's assimilation to a following consonant. So, yeah.
Well, she's saying if you can send them right to us, it's actually better than having a break.
Yeah. All right. Come on. Well, let's see what we can figure out here. What I'm gonna do is I am going to
Blank out the screen and change the view.
here. Wait. I am where
But I'd
is
wave before you do that.
David Cam? Here, I'm gonna do. There. I'm just gonna put us up on the screen, I think. And then,
I mean, I waved for no reason.
yeah. Actually, I can even.
Oh, we can take a moment to also re-mention CopyCon.
Oh, that's right. CopyCon. Everybody's favorite Conlang conference is back. So help me. So if any of you are in the United Kingdom area and want to be in Edinburgh, Scotland on October 10th, we're going to be having a Conlang conference where you will get to hear from me and Jesse talking on topics of our choice, along with the one and only Biblaridian. You might not have heard of him, but if you were paying any attention to the World Building Festival, you've heard of him now.
May have seen him once or
May
twice.
have seen him once or twice. And then also Jake Penny of Pankashku fame. Sorry, I keep saying, that's why I put the acute accents wrong, Jake. I keep saying Pankashku instead of Pankashku. Anyway, and then Kara Saryan. We're all going to be chatting. You can go to the website at copycon.com. Those are the presenters, but among the illustrious attendees is also going to be our very own Madeline James. She's going to be there, and she will be taking attendance. Everybody who attends both the World Building Festival and says something in chat and attends Copycon gets the coveted Madeline James hoodie, which she designs herself, and they're numbered. They're numbered and they're collector's pieces.
I really thought when you started with an H, I thought you were going to say high five. And that really would have been better.
No, I wouldn't.
Then suddenly,
I wouldn't commit a person to like making physical contact with another person. You never know where people are. The hoodies will be fine. Anyway, all right. So we've got that open. Let's see what basic looks like. Okay, no.
here I am.
Not font and document. Is it desktop and chat? No.
Kobegon, my favorite High Valyrian verb.
Basic.
Ooh.
Oh, I know why.
What does Kobegon mean in High Valyrian?
What? Oh, I don't know. Does it
Can't
mean
believe
anything?
you don't have it memorized.
That doesn't mean anything, does it?
I don't know. Biblaridian says it's his favorite High Valyrian verb.
Oh, it's a joke.
It's a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Oh, I didn't get it. I thought it was a real verb. I was so excited to find out what it meant.
Yeah. I guess.
And Jake thought you said Madeline James pudding and thought it was appropriately British. That's fantastic.
Oh yeah, the camera's all screwed up because we usually have our other camera on there. But anyway, yeah, why not? Let's go ahead and name at least one fox.
One. We got this.
Yeah.
1 in 14 minutes. We can do this. Meridian's doing her Name a Fox dance, which means we've got this. Okay.
Thanks. My daughter is over there dancing.
Okay,
All
so
right.
I'm going to take away that this one needs to be named Knan because we
Yeah,
found out that doesn't
that messes
really
it
work.
up.
However, if you like the idea of one of the Umbermancers, I understand that they probably would have. Their titles come from Sarkije, but like I feel like one of them would have studied with the possums, trying to get better, and so.
Oh right, there was possum tongue.
Yes.
Or yeah, was it?
Well, we were gonna do.
We were gonna do Knan tongue,
but like I think we could change the word that goes with tongue
Mm-hmm.
to something. Possum related. It could be of the stars, star tongue, because the stars are so important in all of the names, especially the names
for the
of the possum.
For the possums, yeah. But I feel like I don't know. This should be more of a nickname given to this fox by somebody else, and so maybe it's less kind. Not like it has to be super kind, or like super mean, but what do we think? Oh, the fifth one.
If we wanted to borrow just the word for possum,
Yeah.
uzi,
No, ujish.
uji.
Ujish. Ujish. How do we think ujish would come out in the fox language? How does sound to everybody? Does it get borrowed as oo? Or does it get borrowed as e? After all, it's right next to a palatal consonant and another e.
So I'd say uji.
Iji. Iji.
Yeah, uji.
All right. Lohiji.
Yes.
There we go.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We got it. All right. And so the possum tongue is definitely going to be the 3-star one, the better one. Lohiji. And this is from first. Well, let's do Tapahla is the name of the opossum language, and that's which means opossum. And then Lo is the fox word for tongue. There we go. Hey. We've got another possum down.
If we could think of something for that other Umbermancer, we could be done with the top 4 here in a row.
Yeah, I know. So this one is a 2 star, so it's not going to be as good as the other one. And I really want there to be more nicknamey names.
Um,
And here, I'll move over just to say hi, and you should move over too, so everybody can see you. Woo!
oh my, I fell. I thought you were there. You moved.
Yeah, I know.
So, because all of our magic users have to use something to sort of like
Yeah.
get the essence, and so like I imagine other people just looking at this one as he's like really trying, or she, I forget, this fox, as they're trying to use their magic, and not necessarily always doing great, because 2 stars sometimes get it, sometimes and so other people being like, oh, it's the stick shaker.
Stick shaker.
And so-
I like this. Okay, so let's take a look. Do we have stick? We do. And
we don't have to shake here, but we have it, I believe, in Helhoff. So like I think we have the bones for what we need.
Can you open it up?
I'm opening it right now, David.
Here, hold on. Maybe I can do
Yes.
Is it the wrong type of shake?
It may be. We just have to shake.
Oh.
Now we do use this for like dogs shaking themselves off for the
Yeah,
negation,
but we
like
didn't
we
say.
only have 1 shake.
We didn't say. We've only got 1 shake. So let us rattle and roll it. That it is Keu in the proto,
Yes.
and that comes out as
Exactly. They're tapping their wand like a flashlight with dying batteries. It's over here shaking that stick like, come on, work for me.
Shu.
Oh my god, it's a shun shu.
Really?
Because stick is shun.
Shimshi. Oh my gosh. Okay,
And
no,
then if you
that's
want
perfect.
the seared,
Yeah, that's
shum seared.
Shu, Shu Shou, Shu Shou, Shubo, Shu Tov, and Shura. Perfect. Okay.
Okay, I don't think we need that one anymore. Trying to get some of my documents.
Oh wow! Look, it's similar to the word for metal. The word for metal is Su, and the word for to shake is Shu. All right. All right. All right. All right. This is good. This is good. You know what I could actually do? I can just put this in front of me, so I'm not leaning over to type. All right.
Was shu the word for to shake? Is that with an umlaut?
It's
Shu.
with 2 of them.
Shu. Nice.
All right, and then ra v bo to show. That's all correct. Sh do 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 do. Sh do 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 do. Good. And this what was the protoform of it? It was Keu.
Kheu, I believe.
Yeah. She
Yes.
to shake. All right. And a shaker.
Sir.
Seer. Okay. Okay. So it is. I've got it.
What order does it go in? I you can type it. I'm just typing where it comes from.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
Because it's VO, so
Well, we're talking about a type of shaker, not a type of stick.
right.
So, I honestly think rather than stick shaker,
Mm-hmm.
should just be shake, shakes, sticks. which means
It's gonna be
shishim.
shushum or shuashum.
Shishim. Oh gosh.
Because that's the accusative plural, I believe, is wa, or is it wa?
Okay. So let's discuss this. If you're creating a name, right? Names can be namey. They can be a little less formal. If it was to be truly shakes sticks, it should be shi washim, right? With a wa, I believe.
Yeah, it's wa. I just
Wa.
looked it up.
And so that is the accusative plural, this wa. In other words, it tells you it's the object, and it tells you that it's plural. On the other hand, the shi washim, it's, I don't know, it's a little long. It's very obviously a verb plus an object. And so if we just did this way, then it could be a little bit like the rather, I don't even know how to describe this, maybe country couture, where you say, yeah, he drives truck, you know? That could be what this is. He shakes a stick.
Country couture. It's just the way you say it. Anyway.
Drives a truck is the way you usually say it.
No, I'm fine with leaving it there. I just, if you
All right.
wanted to break it up, I was offering you a way to potentially break it up.
Oh gosh, Jake is saying, why do I do this stuff to Jesse? It's a very, very, very good question. I should not. Sometimes I tease. Sometimes it's too much. But at all times, I love you.
And you're making
Okay.
Meridian get a little grossed out over there.
Shushim. Shushim. I like that.
Okay, so we got that.
Yeah.
4 minutes. Do you want to brainstorm bent card?
Oh, I thought we did that one.
No, we did the
No,
second
we
one.
didn't. That we didn't do the name.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. So this guy is the guy that cheats all the time. That's why he's called the bent card.
'Cause he's not very good.
Oh, he's not very good, right? Okay. Not very good. Okay. Little Fox, not very good. This is going to be a younger one because out of Haas is older, and then of course the 5-star gambler is going to be like king of the foxes, except she's queen. 2-star gambler. Hold on a second. This is another male fox. It's true. Plays ball is pretty standard, isn't it?
It sure is.
Okay. Okay. Let me think.
Yeah, I got real excited thinking we did 2 so quickly. It's like, we got this, and now it's, I don't know.
Well, I want some sort of a fun nickname for this guy. Some little fox who thinks he's very, very slick and thinks he's really cool, but is not, and is obviously not slick.
Okay, thinking.
Would a slick fox pirate wear a hat? My. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't he wear a hat? How about,
Top hat. Just like the little dragon that.
Yeah. No, there's no reason he wouldn't wear a top hat.
And he thinks he looks super cool, so he's got this tall hat.
Yeah, or we call him like brushed fur, or
All
or
right.
or smooth ear. That's it, smooth ear.
All right.
Smooth ear.
Fedora Fox. Yes. All right. Madeline has left to go get ready for the next one.
Yep.
We're in our last 30 seconds.
It's going to be smooth ear. We don't have a word for smooth. We're going to make one, but we do have a word for ear, so don't worry. That's what it's going to be, smooth ear. I love it.
Thank you for being here. Much love to you all, and enjoy the final part of World Building Festival 2025.
This is kind of like the breakdown, right? Right, isn't it?
I think so. It's
So yeah,
the last one, I think.
everybody head on over. Say goodbye.
Bye.
All right.